Yep, and we did receive one question here about our chapter YouTube channel. So since we began this virtual adventure last spring, we've tried to put as much of our content out for chapter members that may not be available the first Wednesday of the month under the new conditions. So going back to last year, last April, I think every presentation recording is on there. The symposium that we just had 2 months back, all those presentations are on there. So in looking at other PMI chapters around the globe, not many post all their content, but Mr. Geis has always pledged us to be all about the members. So feel free to check it out. There's 2 or 3 presentations for me. So if you need help falling asleep, it's good for your appetite. Okay, as mentioned, our symposium was a smashing success that we held on July 14th. Our peak virtual attendance was 547 people. You're probably thinking you told us this last month, but last month you didn't have your PDUs. There has been a backlog of PDU processing from PMI, so we appreciate everyone sticking with us on that. We're submitting them in a timely manner. And hopefully PMI can start to process them quicker. We know that a few of our members missed their August deadlines, so we appreciate your patience. If you participate in the symposium, meaning you were registered and you haven't seen your PDUs reported, send us an email and we'll look into your case. Even though we only have 3 chapter board members today, all the rest are well and healthy. Speaking of board members, our chapter elections are coming up here in November, and they'll be a part of our member appreciation dinner. In past years, we've rented out the entire restaurant, and we'll have from the sunroom to the bar, everyone eating complimentary filet mignons and crab cakes as a token of our appreciation for you being members. This year will be a good test of who's comfortable with the Delta variant in exchange for a free steak dinner. So do we think we're going to have the whole restaurant packed? That would be nice, but it'll be a good test. But that's the first Wednesday of November, so save the date on that. Registration will be open up as soon as we can confirm the speaker and announce that to you. Our positions up for re-election nomination include the president. In order to run for Mr. Geis's vacancy, you'll have to have previous chapter officer experience, however. The co-vice president program, so helping get our great speakers like Mr. Loebig this evening, and trying to keep a well-rounded presence of technical skills with leadership skills, some case studies, and try not to give you the same presentation month after month. Our vice president membership, which tracks the membership trends and sends welcome memberships to new members. Sorry we couldn't keep you to members that we lose. And then the vice president communications, which handles the website and the newsletters and social media. So later this month, we'll have the nomination e-form out there for those positions. If you've been a longtime chapter member, but you want to be involved with the sausage making, consider putting your name in the hat. We'd love to have you. Your dinner this evening is $10. The November dinner will be free. October and December and going into next year, we really want to reward you for your patience and sticking with us through the pandemic. So $10 dinners. If we have a couple of guests here, welcome. So if you have friends that don't have dinner plans on the first Wednesday of the month and you want them to think that you spent more money on their dinner than you did, bring them here. Okay. PMI Washington Dc, which is the largest chapter in PMI Global at over 11,000 members. They've always had one or two symposiums, but this year they're holding their first National Capital Region Symposium. This will be virtual. It will include the 4 sister chapters of Baltimore, Southern Maryland, and PMI Silver Spring, and registration's available at a member price. We've received a few questions about promo code coupon, and Mr. Geis wants to reward those who do participate in this. So as we get your name, we'll be reaching out to you to try to make it worth your attendance. So this symposium is a 2-day event on the 22nd and 23rd from 9 to 3:30, 7 PDUs each day. So it's an easy way to knock out 14 PDUs and in the comfort of your own home or in the background at your office if you're already back to work. Our newsletter last week had information on here as far as the event link. If you go to pmiwdc.org, it's the first pop-up that comes up. And our newsletter later this week will have a follow-up. For those familiar with Miss Laura Bernard, who used to be the longtime Vice President of Finance here at the chapter and was one of the founders of the Project Management for Change and the Project Management Day of Service. She's left the National Capital Region, gone to Florida, but her PMO Impact Summit group through her PMO Impact Consulting company has really flourished. She's offering a virtual summit from the 20th to the 24th, which we know overlaps with the NCR symposium, but the cost is free. There's some VIP paid options to have access to all the course materials for quote unquote ever, and then also a lesser option to have access to all the summit workshops on demand. So that's also being broadcast on our newsletter and website, but a full slate of speakers, full slate of topics. So it should be a great week of education. PMI Global is also still in the virtual business. They're offering their virtual experience series for October, which in previous months had a $140 to $200 charge associated with it for free. I know Beth's done one of the virtual experiences. Thumbs up. Oh, she's done all of them. Beth also had perfect attendance in grade school, middle school, and high school. So this will be held on October 6th and 7th. Because PMI Global has the international presence where they're supporting all time zones, there's a noon to 6 p.m. offering, as well as a midnight to 6. And some great speakers lined up there. Seminars World, which won't be free this year, but has friends of our chapter, Dr. Martins, who just spoke at our symposium in July, Lisa and David from Leadership Techniques, who are loving the Delaware beach life, and then Mr. Bruce Gay, who presented a couple years back and is one of the industry leaders on design thinking. So if your company has an education and training allowance that you could take part in by the end of the year, considering knocking out some PDUs and getting some great knowledge at Seminars World. All of our education partners are doing great things. A few of them are starting to go back to in-person activities, but with all their virtual offerings, they've really perfected things. So from Carl Pritchard to Lisa and Dave to Joe Liani to Kevin Boyd and the Academy Leadership team, to our friends at Montgomery College who have their professional development program offered virtually. So check our website. If you're signed up for their newsletters from past offerings, don't have their emails in the automatic ones you delete. Open them up, give them a check. Anyone with jobs or who's looking for a job and wants to give a quick 15-second elevator speech? Okay, so our featured speaker this evening is Mr. Brian Loebig, a gentleman sitting at the head table. He's the owner of Loebig Ink, which is one of the great small businesses that Montgomery County offers. The first time I was exposed to him was through Adam Lowe, who's one of the top photographers and
1,000?
man that I brought a couple of my mentees to for headshots. And he had a podcast for like 10 or 11 episodes, and Brian was one of the first episodes. Really left an impression on our topic today and just kind of how to look at yourself as a brand. He's the author of a cognitive behavioral thinking blog, as well as a small business blog on the technical side. He has a 20-year professional career, which has showcased that he's a jack of all trades, but a master of all. As from ranging from standing up your own small business and being an entrepreneur to the technical side to what it really means to be a nonprofit and how to make a nonprofit successful and be a leader in the community as well as marketing. And he's a proud alum of the 1977 NCAA men's national champion basketball and Marquette Golden Eagles. Since 77 was before some of us were born, including possibly him. His professional acumen comes from him going to academic school. So we're pleased to have Brian here and give us a few minutes to transition, but thank you, Brian.
I have to say that was the best introduction of myself I've ever heard. I did not write that. I didn't. He wrote that all himself. I was like, this. I was hoping he wasn't saying I graduated in 1977. That's quite before my time. There we go. The intro slide. So personal branding SEO for specifically for project management. A little bit about myself. There's my Marquette shirt. I'm very proud. So I was born in Iowa. I grew up in Wisconsin. My wife was born in Wisconsin. She also attended Marquette University. So I like Marquette. I used that picture right there in my next slide. There we go. The delay. I use that picture in this little website. So this is a one-page personal branding website, actually, that you can get for free from about.me. Has anybody heard of about.me? Raise your hand. About.me, you heard of it? 2 people? I know you've heard of it. So about.me it's a free one-page personal branding website. You just go up there, throw up a picture, and who you are and what you do in one link. So it kind of like brings all your sides of yourself together. If you want to kind of, this is actually, I was having a discussion at my table, like, what if you really don't want your personal brand out there? What if you want to be secretive? Then first of all, you can do like the opposite of whatever I tell you in this entire presentation. But the other thing is you can actually use this to actually put it up there, like when you're trying to present a good professional image of yourself for the next project, and then you can easily take it down. So there's a lot of the things we're going to talk about is if you really want to stay pretty private, you can do a lot of this. A lot of things I'm going to talk about, you can kind of amplify them and optimize them, and then draw them back if you want to be more private. So this is one of the things you could put up, and then you can just take it down, or you could modify it a little bit. And so this talks about my experience as a web consultant. I have a marketing agency here based in Silver Spring, but my team, 15 full-time people work for me. They're kind of all over the United States. What brought me here from Wisconsin was my wife was an Army doctor. She got stationed at Walter Reed. She graduated from VCU. That's what brought me here. And I found out the other person has an about.me page. Is our host, Mr. Matthew Lowe. And so you can see very similar. Everybody's got a big picture on the right-hand side, little information. So my button here, everybody gets a button. My button goes to my website. His button goes to his YouTube videos. And then a little bit about what he does. Then you can link all your social media on there if you have any social media.
And this was a big surprise when I got his slides this morning and I saw I was the third slide.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Stay tuned.
So first of all, let me define what is personal branding. Wikipedia defines it this way. A personal brand is, this is the only one I'll read from, by the way, Ms. Rogers. Personal brand is widely recognized and largely uniform impression of an individual based on their experience, expertise, competencies, actions, achievements, It's, it's kind of your personal, your individual personal presence. Businesses have brands. You're trying to increase that brand, and so I think that you can have a brand yourself. And that begs the question, well, what is SEO? SEO is an acronym. Who knows what SEO is before I define it up here? You've heard it before. About half the group. So SEO acronym, search engine optimization. The basic concept is trying to get normally you're trying to get from search engine land, you're trying to get your website on page 1 of Google for those top keywords that you think people are searching for. So if you're if you think of it from a personal brand point of view, your website there, you're trying to get yourself there. You're trying to get yourself on page 1 of Google when somebody is searching for your name, or basically. And so personal branding SEO is trying to get your personal brand, trying to increase your visibility of yourself and particularly online. And so there's some primary ways you can do that. The first easiest way, which everybody's familiar with, is social media. So I'm going to go through a couple different social media platforms. I know you've had a presentation on LinkedIn. That is one of the key platforms, though, for building your personal brand. And so the first person, which is a member of the Project Management Institute, Mr. Kyle, who is he here today? Maybe he's online.
He's online.
So a couple of things I like that he did. The examples I'm going to give, I'm going to be talking about good, better, and best, and of what I've seen. So one of the things I've done is I've kind of looked through the membership of some people who are coming to the event, and I've kind of looked at your personal brands that are how you are out there publicly. And so what I like about what Kyle did is he did one of the things that very few people do. He's like customized or optimized his LinkedIn URL. You can actually when you first create a LinkedIn profile, it's a series of letters and numbers. It's unreadable. You can actually customize that and make it match your name, or make it match your business name. The other thing that he did a good job of is he kind of built out his contact information here a little bit. And then again, I'm not a first level connection to him, so this is just kind of like what the general public would see. When you click on contact info, he's included a couple websites, a blog he's published there, or he's linking to, and then Smarter Skills. A lot of people don't even fill this out. Like a lot of people just don't even, a lot of people, all they have is just, what is the LinkedIn URL? This is where you can put your phone number. If you have a Twitter account, you can put that in there. You can put websites that you link to. You can include your phone number. Your phone number will only be visible to people who are first level connections to you. Bumping it up a notch. Is Sandy in the room?
She's online.
She's online. Okay. Sandy has actually added a headshot, so that's obviously one of the best ways you can increase your personal brand is by having your picture in there. The other thing she did well, she's at the all-star status like Kyle was. So 500 plus connections on LinkedIn is considered all-star status, and that's really, when you get to that many connections, that really amplifies your visibility, because the way LinkedIn works is, first level connections, second level connection is somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody else. And the third level is you don't know anybody that they know on LinkedIn. And so by having 500 people, it's really kind of exponential, the number of people that you're connected to, then your second level connection. And then she has a detailed headline here: highly motivated, very cleverly written, creative, versatile PMP with 10 plus years experience. And then she also took the extra step of filling out that about section. And so if you're looking to get that next project, this is some of the key things you're going to want to do. At least turn on for a little while until you get that next project. And you want to focus kind of your profile on what is that next project you want to do? What is that kind of industry? So you want to kind of highlight those areas.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
How do you feel about the detailed headlines? Because when they show up in the search queues or the friend recommendation, it cuts it off anyway. So some people are just put the position that they're in today.
My answer to that is this is all keyword friendly stuff.
Yeah.
So even if it doesn't show up initially, or even if it doesn't show up because you're not first level connected to them, that information is being indexed in LinkedIn. So it's kind of like helps with your search visibility. So you want to kind of think keyword friendly, that's all really good information. There's debates about whether it should be a first person or second person, voice. It's really what you're comfortable with. I tend to do it in the first person. that's about yourself. And then you saw David here. So one of the things I liked what David did actually, so David took it to the next level, really, because he's actually put a cover photo. Is that right? I probably looked at 30 or 40 people in the Project Management Institute. You're the only one that I saw that actually had a cover photo. It's not something that's by default. You have to intentionally upload that thing up there. And great headshot. The other thing I like that he did is in your experience section, he's really written some details about some of the previous jobs he's written or he's been involved with. That's, again, it's all keyword friendly stuff, helps increase your personal brand. People can kind of see the history. The other thing you can be strategic about when you're going to your next project management job, even if you've had really different kinds of experiences, like you worked for NOAA this year and then you work for EPA the next year, you want to draw that thread through each of the descriptions about what your next job should be. So if you're looking to get to work in IT project management, talk about the IT pieces that you did in each one of those projects. Even if it was minor, even if it was very minor IT role you had in that first project, that's what you want to do. Kind of weave that thread, that story, so people read that, they can see, wow, this guy's really involved with the IT project management part of things. Good job on that. Conrad, actually, a number of you have done a good job actually linking your license and putting your license and certifications on that part of the LinkedIn profile. When you do this, when you start typing in like Project Management Institute, it starts identifying, is this the PMI you're talking about? Is it PMI DC? Is it PMI National? And so sometimes people get that wrong, or they don't actually do the linking. So they'll type in Project Management Institute, but the logo won't show up. They won't select that logo that allowed it to show up there. And the reason that's a personal branding visibility thing is because when you're dynamically or when your profile is connected to that profile, it allows anybody that's connected to Project Management Institute to see that you're also connected. And so that, somebody's searching for people that are members of the Project Management Institute, then you'll show up in that search. If you didn't select that, if you don't see a logo showing up there, that means you're not actually indexed or connected to that larger organization. It's a big mistake a lot of people use. And then he also did put his volunteer experience. This is a fantastic personal branding exercise. A lot of people have a lot of passions outside of, obviously their job in project management. By putting your volunteer experience, it does a couple things. It really helps elevate that organization that you're working with, because then you're associated with it. And also it also helps other people see the interest that you have, and a lot of times that will be a factor in them in the interview process, or in them wanting to make a connection with you, because you'll have that common experience. Same thing with colleges or high schools. Amy, who I believe is registered online today, she did the same thing. She put she actually linked to Project Management Institute of Montgomery County. Very few people have actually done that. I encourage you to do that for your own personal membership. Don't just link to the national PMI, link to your local chapter. That will help you be seen, be connected to your local tribe, so to speak. Then she also put license certifications in there as well. Moving on from profiles, there's a thing called in LinkedIn. It's called LinkedIn Profinder. Who's heard of that? Raise your hand. One person? Two people? You've heard of it? Okay, so LinkedIn Profinder is a tool within LinkedIn to get jobs, to get projects. And the reason I bring it up, I don't always bring it up in these kinds of personal branding presentations, but the reason I bring it up here is because there's actually a really strong part of the LinkedIn Profinder that is geared for project management professionals. This is kind of like the interface for it. You basically have to sign up for it. It's kind of like job lead. It's kind of like getting being in the LinkedIn universe to get leads for people looking for project managers. And so what you do is you go and this is actually for the end user. This is for somebody searching for a project manager. They would click get proposals. find the best project manager, get proposals. They would click on that. And then if you're in this, if you're a LinkedIn Pro, if you've gone through the LinkedIn Profinder setup process, you'll show up as one of the potential people that LinkedIn is going to recommend to that person for a job. And obviously, if you don't have a headshot on your LinkedIn profile, you're not going to get accepted in here. If you don't have if you don't have recommendations, one of the things to optimize your LinkedIn profile, you have to have people that have recommended you on LinkedIn. If you don't have that, you're not going to be approved to get in LinkedIn Profinder. Initially, this is free. Again, the stuff I'm going to share is like 99% of this is just free, open source kind of information. To get into LinkedIn Profinder initially, it's a free process. It's also human moderated. It's not an algorithm. I'm actually a consultant. I'm kind of like a project management consultant, I guess, with LinkedIn. LinkedIn does all their tech support outsourced. And so when you request support on LinkedIn, the email is actually going through a CRM and then going to people like me that answer your question. It's not like LinkedIn staffing a lot of times. And so I have a little bit of insight into how LinkedIn runs the LinkedIn Profinder process. And so when you submit your application to get into the LinkedIn Profinder, it's human reviewed. They look at your profile, they see your connections, they look at if you got recommendations, they look at how many people you're connected to. One of the key things for project managers, they're going to want to see that you have project management experience. And so they're going to want to, like David's profile is great, or they're going to see a history of project management work. And so that would be very strong possibility of getting approved for into LinkedIn Profinder. After they see that you've actually been hired for a job, then they'll hit you up for like a monthly fee. Moving on to social media. Matthew. So this is Instagram. One of the things that you can do, all these social media platforms can help increase your visibility, increase your visibility in your personal brand online. I can tell Matthew has a very creative, fun personality online. And so I think it's just out of focus. And so one of the things that Matt is doing is he's linking. This is a feature of Instagram that sometimes is not used. It's there's only one place you can get people to click on something on LinkedIn, and that is this little LinkedIn profile URL. And he's linking to his book list that he likes to read. A lot of people, like I use it to link to my business website. You can use that to link to your LinkedIn profile. When you post, the other thing I like that he does actually is when he's posting content. So this is one of Matt's posts. It's very personal, it's very creative. And so he's posting an image. One of the things he's using down here is a hashtag strategy. You can't see this, but all these are little hashtags. This is one of the ways to get major visibility on Instagram is use hashtags, because if you put a hyperlink in there, it's not going to be clickable. You have to tell people, if you want people to click on something, you say, click the link in my bio. And so one of the ways you can get a lot of visibility for free organically on LinkedIn or on Instagram is by doing a lot of hashtags. On some social media platforms, if you use more hashtags, you get less visibility. Like they look down on it. On Instagram, the more the better. I think you can use up to 20 or 30 hashtags before you know the answer to that?
No.
Okay. It's about 20 to 30.
But I do have a little bit of commentary.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I looked at my Instagram profile more as like an online journal, but like my rules of engagement are like if I can thank someone, praise someone, or share something that someone is doing, like that's like the qualification.
That's a fantastic use, especially of LinkedIn, because you're increasing your visibility. When you're thanking, you're liking, you're clicking, those kind of things, it keeps you, people see that. Even if they only log in once every 6 months, they'll see that you had logged in there back then, and that you had liked them, or you liked the post or whatever. It's a great way to stay top of mind. And
then you don't have to worry about photos crashing or your Google photos accidentally going away because it's just there.
True.
Yeah.
Moving on to Twitter. So Project Management Institute of Montgomery County has a decent Twitter profile. They can work on more followers. They're following more people than they're following them. However, one thing they do really well is putting the location in there. So if you have a personal Twitter account, the way to increase your visibility online is at least put your city, put your city and state. Even if you're from a small town, even if you're from Kensington, Maryland, which nobody outside of the DMV knows what that is. You don't want to put DMV. So I'm not from here. I'm originally from Wisconsin. When I came here and people were talking about the DMV, I thought they're talking about going to the motor vehicle department all that. And also if you put DMV here, like let's say you work in Northern Virginia and but you come to work in Bethesda, or you live in, vice versa. If you put DMV here, it prevents it from being searchable if somebody's searching for a project manager in a specific location. You have to put, like, even if you put something, a little small town, the default search radius on Twitter, if somebody's searching for somebody, project manager, is 15 miles. So if you put Kensington, Maryland, it's going to include DC anyway. It's going to include most of Montgomery County. And so you want to put, the other reason to put your small town that you're from, National Harbor, wherever, Gaithersburg, if you put that in there, then people have a connection with you. You might have somebody from that physical location that we're like, oh, I know where that is. It's like one town over from where I'm from. I've gotten several clients in jobs because I put in Silver Spring, Maryland. They felt comfortable, like, oh, I know where that is. Go ahead, Ben.
We have a question in chat. Any advice for those who don't live in a major metropolitan area? So if you put in like hometown USA.
Yes, that's actually better. My opinion, it's better to say that you're from Kensington than it is to say Washington, DC, because there's like a million, half a million people in Washington, DC. And what it does is it says it makes you even more hyper local. This kind of, I really believe in the hyper kind of local process for increasing your visibility. It makes you connected to a small town, something somebody can recognize. And it might sound counterintuitive, but it gives you more opportunity because people can see that you're literally from this place because you're from that little small town. Feel free to, so if anybody has questions, just feel free to raise your hand or send a chat on online. So Eugene, I got Eugene here too. So we're moving on to Facebook, and what Eugene has done well, of course, he's got a nice headshot on there, and he's also doing the local, he's doing the places, he's got the places he lives. So again, that hyper local thing, Catonsville, Maryland, unless you're from that part of Maryland, you might not know what that is. But if you're from there, it's like, oh, I can connect to that somebody. You're creating that kind of personal brand visibility that's connected to your location. The other thing that he's done, he didn't share a whole lot. So this is what's publicly available. This is pretty much all I see about him. I'm not seeing his family. I'm not seeing who he's connected to. I'm not seeing any of his posts. It's a very private profile other than kind of this information. And so you can make stuff as private or as public as you want. You can change those settings. You can turn them on and off. Moving on to, what is this? This is also Facebook. One of the things you could do with Facebook, since I'm in the internet kind of marketing world, I like, have my stuff out there as much as possible. Not everything, obviously. But some of the things I've turned on for people to see are like the different websites that I'm connected to, different email addresses. Some of these aren't actually visible. These are the ones that are connected to my account. But I do have my phone number, this phone number public, which is my public business number, my zip code. That's my wife. We just bought a Harley Davidson like 3 years ago, so she's picking it up with me. We both ride matching Harley Davidsons. Hers is red and mine is white. Frederick, Maryland. You can see that's where we bought it. So Meetup. This is a major missed opportunity for people. Meetup is very common for like groups to get together. In order to join a Meetup group, you have to have a profile. So it's a great opportunity to, again, increase your personal brand. There's actually project management of Long Island has a Meetup page. And what the personal profiles look like are this. So this is what kind of a personal profile looks like on Meetup. Most people don't even have a headshot. Again, one of the ways to increase your profile, your personal brand is consistency and completeness. And so if this is his headshot on Meetup, I would recommend putting that headshot across all those other platforms. If you get a new headshot, put it across all your platforms. You want to create that consistency. So if somebody sees you on LinkedIn and then they see you again on Twitter and they see you on Meetup, it's like, oh, I know that person. I've seen them everywhere. I get that a lot. I bet Matt gets that a lot. He's got that very, unique face.
On that headshot note, I think as ageism becomes a problem, a lot of like professionals 60 plus like are hesitant to use like a most current headshot. What's your advice on that?
My advice is I'm more likely to hire a 60-year-old from my internet marketing agency than I am somebody coming out of college. So I feel like you have an advantage. My two latest SEO people, one is 55 and the other one is 59. They have such a major advantage, even though it's new technology for some of them. They have to have a little bit of skills, but they're very steady, they're stable, they're reliable. I know when a project is going to get done. I know they're not going to be jumping from this job to the Amazon to over here and over there. So I think ageism is a thing, but depending on the industry, I feel like it's also an advantage. So I feel like put your personal brand. They're going to see you once you come to the interview. I say put your personal brand out there. Make sure you have the image you want to display. If you have tattoos on your neck and you want to show that, then wear a collar. One of the ways you can really optimize this Meetup profile is by, and this is going to be a consistent theme for all these kind of platforms, is fill out the information completely. For example, this is my Meetup page. Link it to your social media that you have active, put a description, answer all the questions that are available. Just fill out the profile completely. What type of business you have, where you're located. And then the reason this is kind of important is this is a public profile. When you're going to one of these Meetup groups, for example, like a PMI or whatever, a lot of times people will go and see who's coming. There's 24 people coming. Who's that? They click on it. There's probably going to be 90% of the people that don't even have a headshot, and so they'll see the name and that's it. Guess who's going to stand out? Like of who's going to be coming to that meeting? Everybody's going to know me because I'm like one of the 10 people that actually has information. They're going to feel like, oh, that's that guy I saw, and I know he was coming. So moving from social media to what I call niche directories. I consider your Project Management Institute certification registry as a niche directory. And so this is something that when you're a member, it's publicly searchable. The only thing that is really searchable is your state and your name and your country. That's pretty much it. And this is not even, I did some research on your profiles, on the PMI profiles. It's not even indexed by Google. So they actually have no index functionality in here. So in order for somebody to find you're a member, you have to go to the PMI and then actually search for your name. So it's pretty locked down. But again, it's something that's an opportunity for your personal brand. The other opportunity, since there's very limited information on members in that directory, the way you can get some significant visibility is like Charlie, is to actually have a leadership position. Major visibility, major credibility. This is Google searchable. If you search for Charlie using a Google search, this page is going to show up because this page is indexed. This is publicly available. And the PMI itself, the PMI website, is pretty highly authoritative because it's from a professional organization that's been around a long time. It's connected to a domain name that's been around for a very long time. And so by having your name connected to this, I call it barnacle SEO. You're connecting your brand with something that's bigger than you, like a ship. And so it's a way to get yourself really visible really quick. Like your own Facebook profile is not going to be that well indexed, but you connected to a leadership position in an organization, huge personal branding visibility. Another directory, I was kind of searching for project management directories. Who's heard of this one, Top Tall? Has anybody heard of that directory? So this is one of the top project management directories on the internet, and it's actually similar to LinkedIn Profinder, where if you get accepted into the directory, they actually start connecting you with project management jobs. So, and I signed up myself, so I had to see what the process was like. If it's going through a human review process. I didn't get requested for a payment or anything, so far it's all free. I do some of this stuff just to get, that visibility. Like I'll be on there, another place to see my face in my business somewhere. But it's very professional. The profiles this is an example of somebody who has a profile on that directory. So it's a headshot, detailed description, mobile, digital, what else I got in here? Their expertise, languages, project highlights, education, kind of like a little mini LinkedIn profile. It's very professional. Another one that's it's more coach related, but it can be used by project managers as well, is a website called Noomii, Noomii. This is a free directory. It's kind of like one of those another place you can put yourself online so that if you want to get more visible, attract more people to you. Nicoletta Pritchard was somebody I know. She's got business networking. So we talked about, so the other kind of directories, so those are niche directories. Those are kind of like specific focus. Specifically, we talked about project management focus. These are, the next way is just through local directories, such as Alignable. Who's heard of Alignable? You heard of Alignable, raise your hand. Only a couple people. So this is one of the most, one of the more newer, more intrusive directories that are out there. It's hyper local. This is a business, local Germantown business, the project management consulting. They have a business profile on there. It's mostly made up of personal profiles, similar to LinkedIn, but it's more aggressive. And so when you go on there, if you go on this website, expect to get a lot of emails and remarketing from a lot of websites, because they pull in data from other public sources to make it look, and they see, like if you're looking at the website, they see who's connected to you on your social media. So they actually show you all the different people that you're already connected to on LinkedIn, making it look like all these people that you know are on LinkedIn, but it's really just pulling their data into their platform to try to encourage you to join as well. So it's kind of a little, I joined everything, just check it out. And so I've actually gotten a couple jobs through the business jobs through it. So as long as you don't mind, the spam of emails that come, it's something to consider. The other thing I like about it was it's really hyper local. It'll tell you if the person's from Kensington, if they're from Germantown. LinkedIn has just started that same thing where you can search people. It used to be just you can only search people in the DC, Baltimore area. Now it's actually more local. You can search for people in a smaller town. I think because this group here was intruding on their business that way. Then of course, business networks. If you're a member of a chamber of commerce, it's a great way to increase your personal brand and visibility. Each chamber of commerce has a website. When you sign up, they give you a little web page to put your business or to put your personal information out there. And so again, it's a great opportunity. Again, 90% of people who sign up for these things, 90% of people in chambers of commerce don't do this. They don't fill out their stuff. They might have their name and their phone number. That's it. It's lost opportunity. I like to try to max it out. Like how many social media profiles can I put in this? And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're able to put at least seven in the Silver Spring Chamber of Commerce. And then this link to your website is what creates the like a search engine optimization visibility. Like having that link to my website increases the authority of my website by probably tenfold, because this is a high authority. Any Chamber of Commerce website is a high authority website. It's linking this to your website. It's actually giving your website some of that credibility. Correct. Yeah, this is a paid thing. But the internet doesn't see it as a paid link because it's a membership. So it's actually a do follow. From a technical perspective, it's a do follow link. So it actually does pass SEO value to your website with this link. Questions about that? That's hopefully as technical as we'll get. This is it's hard to see, but one of the blogs that I've written is on these chambers of commerce, because it's such a valuable opportunity for businesses to join a chamber of commerce. So I have my digital team look up all the chambers of commerce in the DMV area and identify what is the fee for like an entry-level membership, and then what is the strength of that chamber of commerce domain from an authority perspective. There's probably 40 different chambers of commerce in here. We keep it updated every quarter, and then you can actually sort on these to say what is the lowest cost chamber with the highest authority that I can join. And so you can actually come in here and kind of sort things around and join the Chamber of Commerce. It's going to give you the best digital bang for your buck. It includes chambers like that are like ethnic chambers or gay lesbian chambers. Of course, business chambers. Another business network. If you're familiar with Business Networking International, BNI, it's a professional networking organization. They of course give you a profile that you can fill out. This is Andrea Duncan. She's a Silver Spring consultant who does project management. And then another great way to increase your your personal brand online is through blogging and online engagement. So again, I was looking for blogs related to project management. Of course, projectmanagement.com has their own blog, and I'm sure they accept guest bloggers. So if you're really trying to make a mark and increase your credibility in project management, this is be the best blog to write for, to offer to do a guest blog. And they do a great job of really let me see if I can, yeah. So this is one of the few websites, blog websites, that gives you really good credibility. Like most blogs, you get a little called the Gravatar profile at the bottom. It's like your headshot, a link, and maybe a sentence about you. If you write a blog for Project Management Institute, they give you a whole web page profile that you can really talk about yourself, and it's quite impressive. And of course, since it's connected to the institute, it also gives you badges and the different things that you've accomplished in the institute. And then all these are applicable. This is one of the guest blogs that I wrote when I started my business back in 2010. I started doing guest blogging because I wanted to write for more high authority kind of websites to get my information out there. And so I found Think Entrepreneurship, and I said I wrote an article on the top 5 referral sources for new entrepreneurs. This is the kind of like the little bio that they gave me. Compare this to what Project Management Institute did. The reason this is a good I use this as a good example because I wrote this, was that 2012, like 8 years ago. I still get traffic to my website from that article that I wrote 8 years ago because it's evergreen. It's like, people are saying, well, what new entrepreneur, how do I get referrals? And so I still get business traffic from me. Another way to get great visibility.
Oh, no.
Question?
Just a question.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have frustration with blogs and podcasts and putting content out there. They put a lot in there and then they don't get the ROI from it, at least immediately. So they're like, well, that's not worth my time. That's why you see like people who maybe wrote like 2 LinkedIn articles like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, but stopped because they didn't. What would your advice be to keep pushing through?
Great question. I would say it's a difference between it's really like farming. It's like you're planting seeds with this kind of process. If you're trying to get quick results, you want to do like paid advertising. It's like you want to you can actually do some LinkedIn advertising to get your profile out there and more visible. If you're trying to get a quick return on investment, you're gonna have to pay some money. Either pay somebody to help get your information out there, or pay to sign up for LinkedIn Profinder or get on some of these directories. This is a longer term gain and it's more sustainable. We call it evergreen content. And so the reason to do this is it really lasts into, especially if you're guest podcasting or you're guest blog posting, you don't have control of that content anymore. So it's going to live out there. You want to make sure it's good. You want to make sure it's relevant. It's evergreen and it's going to last. It's not going to be, this is good. This is good in 2010, but it has no relevance today. So I would say, think of it from that perspective. Like it's really trying to farm. It's really trying to grow your personal brand, from a seedling into an oak tree. The more you do this kind of stuff, the more credibility, visibility, opportunities, they'll show up. It's not going to be ROI immediately, but it'll actually last. Like I said, with that blog post that I did, it lasts. It brings me traffic and authority on the internet still today. Here's my last slide. Start optimizing. And so, and then QR codes are back. Back when I started working for, I was working for a Volvo car dealership. It was one of my first big clients. We were using hashtags all the time, and the cell phones turned it off, and then it's like wasn't available. Now QR codes are back. Feel free to scan it, and if you're interested in giving me a review on Google, that's what it's going to link to. Or if you just Google my name, if you just Google my last name, I'm going to be on page 1, page 2, and page 3 across the country because it's kind of an uncommon name. Loebig is a German name. And there's a Loebig chiropractic though in Great Falls. That's like the main competition for my name. Any questions? Go ahead.
So I had a question, and this may show my age a little bit, but about a decade or so back when Facebook, LinkedIn all became sort of popular, I was sort of under the impression that you used LinkedIn from your professional side of things and Facebook for your personal side of things, because there may be photographs and comments from your friends you don't want to be friends any longer, which may not be very complimentary. And so I kept the two things separate and never tried to. I understand when you're trying to promote a business, you want every social media outlet to speak highly about you or show you as multi-talented. But what is your thoughts as a true professional? Should we keep the LinkedIn as professional side of thing and let the Facebook go wherever it goes?
I would say, I think of it as all these profiles are public. So it's like, it's really, you want to think about, if somebody saw this tomorrow, like what's that professional public presence? I only use Facebook for personal. I only have like 300 connections because I'm only doing family and friends on Facebook. However, I know that a lot of my posts, I just make them public. You can make that totally private, totally public. So the stuff I'm posting, I'm thinking like, if somebody saw this, if somebody was interested in hiring me, and they looked at my Facebook page, the stuff that I have public, what kind of presentation am I giving? Even though I'm only using it for personal, it's gonna be used for more than personal. You want to think about the person who's going to be potentially looking at that to figure out what you want posted on there. Like our mothers would always say, don't say anything you don't want on the front page of the newspaper, right? I think that's totally true for social media. I wouldn't make, even if you think it's a private message, only make that public comment, even if it's on Facebook and it's all private. Only make that comment, in my opinion, that you wouldn't mind showing up public, because you don't know what Facebook is doing with false information. They get hacked. Everybody gets hacked, and so you only want stuff on there that you wouldn't mind potentially. I mean, you won't like it, but it's not going to hurt you. If somebody pulled off all my Facebook stuff from the beginning of Facebook time, I would not have a problem because I've all used my mother's guidance of anything I'm posting, even if it's to my family and friends. I'm only going to post stuff that I want to be out there, that I'd be comfortable with the public looking at. That's a great rule of thumb. So if you feel like, well, I'm using the F word with this person because they really pissed me off, and I'm using a big F, it's only between me and them, consider it on the front page of the newspaper, what you're going to say with it. If you have to cuss them out, do it on the phone. Don't do it on social media. Exactly. And then make sure there's no cell phones. Go ahead.
I just wanted to comment about the hyper-localization that's happening on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
My husband wouldn't have his current job, which he absolutely loves. He probably wouldn't have it if it weren't for the fact that when he went to the company's website, company's LinkedIn page, he went to the company's LinkedIn page, and LinkedIn told him 2 people live in Mount Airy. We live in Mount Airy. So it said 2 people who work for this company live in the same city as you. And we're like, wow, really? And we checked, and one of them was someone we know extremely well. That person took his resume into the hiring manager and now works there.
Fantastic.
So the hyperlocalization
Fantastic
of
example.
LinkedIn is really cool.
Fantastic example.
And I have my job at the same time.
That's kind of insider trading, though, isn't it?
But is that good or?
It's good. It's all good. It's super good.
That's one of the things I actually fight with some of my clients about. It's like, I want to optimize their website for where their business is sitting. Like, so they might be sitting in Gaithersburg, but they're like, I want to optimize for Washington, DC. I want to optimize for Baltimore. I'm like, no, you don't. You want to optimize for where you're physically located, because Google has a really strong local algorithm. When you're searching for something on your phone, it's going to initially show you those results that are within mile radius of your physical IP local address. If you say, pizza near me, it's going to show you the pizza parlors right around you. If you're looking for a business, if you're looking for a professional, it's going to show you those businesses and those people that are physically closest to you. So you want to start there and then grow to other locations. That's a great example. Go ahead.
What if you work for a company like Deloitte or something like that? And you want to market yourself, but you also are part of this big company. So how do you kind of balance your corporate identity and your own identity?
Okay. So the question is, what if you work for a larger company and you want to promote yourself, like you do project management more than just like that one company, for example, right? And so how do you kind of balance building your personal brand, also representing that business brand that you're a member of? It's a great question. So the companies that are informed, that are, they realize that their employees are one of the best branding potentials for their organization. So if they're smart, not all organizations are smart, if our organization is smart, they're going to want to encourage their employees to have, even to have other outside interests. Because if you're connected to their brand, if you're following them, if you're following their newsletter, if you're following their social media, if you're posting positive stuff about the organization, you can do both. It's not an either or. I feel like it's the best of both worlds. That most of my team is actually 1099 subcontractors. I encourage them to share and post and build. I teach them how to build and optimize their profiles so they can get work outside of me. It's really like it's an abundance, philosophy. It's like the better they get, the better their organization. That's my take on it.
A few questions in chat.
Okay. Chat.
You seem very, very goal driven. How do you craft your goals and how often do you revisit them?
He said, I seem very goal driven. How do I craft my goals and how do I revisit them? Good question. One of the I'm very goal driven. I create like an annual kind of business plan every year, and I try to, I look at the pandemic has actually increased. We're having a discussion at our table. The pandemic has actually increased my business. Initially, I went down 40% revenue that first month. I took out a PPP loan because I was like, oh no, it's going to be, if it goes another 40 next month, I'm going to be in trouble. But it actually rebounded, and I've done better this year than the 10 years previous. And so I kind of readjust my goals every year. And so like one of the new lines of service we're doing is live streaming video for people, like conferences and stuff that people can't get to physically. We actually started doing live streaming funerals because people can get to the funerals. And so I do live streaming for my church, and they started asking me to do this for our families because they can't get to the funerals, and it just on a whole new line of business. So I look at kind of where the trends are. I look at what my revenue was the previous year. I do 25 to 50% increase next year. Sometimes it's lower and smaller. And I work that out with my digital team too. Like what are our goals and areas? Question in the back.
So my question is going to be around the reps and paid advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a blogger or a simple comment that I want to put on LinkedIn, I want it to reach beyond my digital presence. Can you talk to that?
Okay.
How does one go about it?
So the question is, how do you leverage? I'm going to restate it. How do you leverage paid advertising if you're like have a personal blog? How do you get your personal visibility information out there with paid media if you're kind of an individual and a person, right? One of the things you can do, you can actually sign up for a Google Ads account as an individual, and then you can actually promote your personal blog through paid advertising. You can also do that as a individual user on Facebook. You can sign up for a Facebook ads account, and they make it really easy because that's how they make money. You see that little button that says boost the post? They make it really easy for you to boost anything that you've posted. So if you post your blog, that's actually one of the quickest ways. Actually, it's the preferred way. So I tell clients that if you want me to help manage your Facebook, you have to have paid advertising involved with that, because when you post something on Facebook, it reaches nobody but maybe your mother, who always reads your stuff. So you have to have a little budget. And so I would say start out very simple, do a Facebook post, do a $20 budget, But then, go again, read all the little things, like make sure you target, I don't target the whole United States with $20. You're not going to reach anybody. So, target Gaithersburg, and depending where you're from, the 10-mile radius, $20 will reach a couple thousand people actually. And so, but you want to be specific, you can actually choose interests in Facebook. Choose the interests, like choose other project management professionals, choose the 10-mile radius of Gaithersburg, choose a age demographic. I think they changed the age demographic. They're changing the rules all the time about who you can target. But those are some quick, easy ways.
So yeah, what you're talking about is exactly what I mean. So I volunteer for robotic club.
Mhm.
So I want to get that message across.
So you volunteer for Robotic Club and you're trying to get the visibility out on the club. Do they have a Facebook page? Oh, so you can do a professional Facebook paid advertising platform, and you can literally just you can just click the boost post, and it'll make you put your credit card in there. They take your money really quickly. But you guys, I wouldn't give this advice to anybody, but this group, project managers, you guys have, you read all the details, you check all the boxes. So when you go through that, make sure, you just read everything, check all the correct boxes, and then analyze and vet. This is what you guys do, like analyze and evaluate the results. After 2 weeks, go into the dashboard. There's a Facebook analytics, see who you reached, how many opened, how many clicked, how many, it's a great free little, it's a great free
Same
access.
thing happens when you put something on Marketplace, right?
Yeah.
If you want to boost it.
Oh, right, yeah. I sell stuff on Marketplace without boosting it. You just put it up there and people are looking for stuff. I recommend do the free stuff first. Like just put it up there like you're selling something, put it up there for free and then see if it sells. The other thing is Craigslist is great for personal branding as well as selling your junk. I work with several clients, they always like mocking me, but I have an ad out on Craigslist, $5 a month to have an ad on Craigslist. And so it's one of the cheapest, lowest cost. I get jobs like every month from people who wanted to do $1,000 to $5,000 websites for $5 a month. There's a return on investment of that. And because people see it as this, sketchy platform, then I don't care. I'm getting legitimate. I just finished a website for JMS Construction, JMS Executive Construction, a brand new construction company that wanted an entry-level startup website. We built his website for a couple thousand. We are, and he's going to want more digital advertising. He's looking for a low-cost website. That's where you go. You go to the low-cost stuff. So we do a lower cost website, and then it's the potential to do a lot more business. So I would advertise anything on Craigslist, and then again, make it you can look at the competition. The competition is very low. The bar is very low to look better than anybody else on Craigslist. So people just throw junk up there, Any questions?
One more on chat.
Mhm.
I'd like to co-author blogs with colleagues and professionals. What advice do you have to initiate those efforts?
Depends on your goal. So if you're looking to get some significant visibility, credibility, and brand recognition, I wouldn't do your own blog first. I would guest blog on organizations that you have a connection to, like Project Management Institute, like American Society of Equality, like other organizations, even other blogs that allow guest posting. I would start there first, and you can do that as a collaborative. If you do have a website though, and you really want to start your own thing, that's a great way to do it, is do it in collaboration. Do like a blog. There's a thing called you can do like a blog, kind of like we have multiple blog authors. You send out requests for information. No, not wiki. It's like you have you interview 10 people, and you ask them to contribute to your post. And so like you're all going to answer about what is the top thing you should think about as a new project management professional. You have 8 people write their perspective. You include all their information to a blog, and it gives you a nice, complete blog from 10 different professionals. It's a great way to kind of get everyone visibility, create a nice long form, a unique blog for your. It's a great way to kind of develop content. Okay.
And there's another even more rounding applause on Zoom for you as well. Dr. Reep, who I think had to step away for the evening, who's really one of the great community leaders and thought leaders that the National Capital Region area has, was a contributing author on The Success Secret, which is a collection of 55 chapters on professional success. Her chapter is on toxic workplaces, not how to create toxic workplaces, but how to work around them and fix them. So she donated a few books. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like she'll be here to sign them, but if you bring it back to future meetings, she's usually commonplace here. So we did a random raffle. So Miss Perez, are you still here? Great. David Davis. Great. Gerald Johnson. Miss Rogers is here, and Alyssa. Great. Okay. So come up, get your books, and next month we'll raffle off the other 5 that we had. So, Mr. Geis, closing remarks, sir. Okay. Okay. With the storm, we wanted to give you a little bit of time back. Mr. Loebig will stick around to answer any questions or share shop talk. We'll be back here next month, the first Wednesday, and then just a reminder that our member appreciation free dinner, October 6th, and then our member appreciation free dinner will be that first Wednesday in November, and we hope to have our speakers solidified here soon and that registration open. Okay, everyone get home safe. Thank you.